Right, greetings, hello. It's Dr. Thomas Staffan again. I'm giving my weekly Fasting Sunday address here in La Creuse in France about world events, the politics of fear that's going on the planet, pandemic, Brexit, you name it. I mean, I still maintain the whole cycle of catastrophes started with Brexit. It was the first time that the world's elite military-industrial surveillance capitalists realised they can game democracy and get any outcome they want. They cheated, they lied, and they got Brexit. And it's a catastrophe. And since that, they've become unbridled in their, passion for, spreading panic and fear through people using weaponized social media and misinformation channels. My fight back as coordinator of the World Intellectual Forum here in Europe is to advance peacemaking throughout Europe, including Britain, to try and find the truth out about the coronavirus, where it came from. If it came from bioengineering, then to seal that kind of research, to prevent that ever happening again. The only way we can do this is through the UN Bioweapons Convention. That's the formal way to do it. And to stop these military surveillance capitalists continuing to desecrate the planet, using up scarce resources, emitting vast amounts of carbon dioxide. The military is the single biggest, miscreant when it comes to causing global warming. So forest fires in California, in Siberia that we're seeing in Greece, Turkey, they're directly related and correlatable, mathematically, to the vast expenditures of energy and wealth on military industrialism. So 20 years of failure to bring peace to Afghanistan, premised on a false mission statement, we're going to get the people that did 9/11. Well, it was a false mission statement from the very beginning. As I made plain in my book on the history of 9/11. And if you are interested, you should read that 2-volume, 1,000-page study, which is the first actual historical study to be conducted by a professional historian in forensic detail on the events of that day and all possible explanations. There are huge ethical, moral, political implications of the interpretation of those events. So we can see how history itself has been weaponized and fake, false information has been seeded in place of truth. Now, my job as a historian is to find actual truth. I'm sworn to the Guild of Authentic Historians, along with Toynbee and Ibn Khaldun and Herodotus and Thucydides. Our job is very, very important. It's to find actual truth and to try and stop the tap of conflict and violence, which is just pouring out blood, right? Is to turn the cap off and stop that happening for the sake of all the women and children and men of the world who don't want war, which is the vast, vast majority. It causes refugees, it causes illness, it causes terror, it causes physical pain to many, it causes disease. War is not anybody's friend, and the gods of war, which have been unleashed on this planet in the last 20 years, have to go back in the bottle. Time to go back in the bottle, genies of war. And that's what my work is. And today I'm going to be talking to you again from Clio, which is the muse of history. History is one of my passions. And I'm going to be sharing some research I've been doing. I think it's interesting, and it relates very much to what's going on in Afghanistan and the Middle East. As chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the Middle East, I feel passionately about seeing peace break out in the Middle East in my lifetime. I think the Taliban defeat of America and the withdrawal of the American troops is a potential breakthrough moment for peace in the Middle East. I'm going to explain how and why. I know a lot of friends of mine are very worried about what's going on in Afghanistan. They're worried about the Taliban. And yes, there are elements within the Taliban that need to be reined in by their own leadership. And they have to be taught, from the ground up that women deserve respect. There's nothing in Islam that says you can terrorize women or force them, stop them from working or making them wear a burqa and all this kind of stuff. This isn't Islam. This is something else. Culturally, programmed patriarchal misogyny. Let's call it what it is, which is nothing to do with Islam. So, I want to share a sequence of thinking here. So, I'm working, as you probably know, those of you that follow my work, on a commentary on the Quran. I've been doing it actually, I started it, God forbid, 10 years ago, when I moved to the Castle of the Muses. I'd always wanted to do it. I'd done a commentary on some of the Gospels. I was doing one on the Psalms. I mean, as a religious studies teacher, I feel it's my duty to try and explain these texts, both to students who are from that faith and also students who just want to study about that faith. Both. And I've done this, if I live long enough, I'll do at least one text from all the world's religions. I've done it on the Buddhist text, the Dhammapada. I've got a few left to go, but then I'm young enough, hopefully I'll finish it. The one on the Quran has taken the longest chunk of my time so far. I haven't worked on it continuously for 10 years, but I've worked on it on and off in chunks. And it should be finished by Christmas 2021. That's coming up. Why has it taken so long? Because I'm incredibly painstaking. This is the most detailed commentary available in English on the Quran by any scholar ever. So why bother? Well, the Quran is an incredibly interesting text. It occurred historically at a seminal moment in world history. It's influenced millions and millions of people throughout history. It's had more commentaries on it probably than any other book apart from the Bible already. I'm just the latest. But I think that it's worth revisiting and doing again, because now we have all kinds of new tools as historians. My commentary is historical and philosophical and theological commentary, but I'm using advanced historical tools. History wasn't very well known in Muhammad's day. Certainly he himself had little grasp of history. There was he knew some things, and he knew about Alexander the Great, he knew about the Roman Empire, he knew about the birth of Christianity to an extent. He knew a lot about the history of prophetic revelation according to the Bible and Israel. He'd read these texts. His vision of history was what I call prophetic history, or it was a psychological take on history, that history has a moral, ethical purpose, and that that's incredibly important. So what I'll be saying in my remarks today is premised on that basic outline. Thank you.